Welcome back to the Living Soil Lab, where we're constantly proving that the most powerful garden amendments aren't found in expensive bags at the garden center. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for gardeners willing to think differently about soil fertility. Walk through our garden today and you'll see tomatoes heavy with flawless fruit showing zero signs of blossom, and rot peppers with thick walls and vibrant color, and leafy greens so robust they practically glow with health. Visitors always ask what miracle fertilizer we're using, and they're shocked when we reveal our secret weapons: crushed eggshells from our kitchen and kelp harvested from the ocean. These two overlooked materials have transformed our soil from decent to extraordinary, and today we're diving deep into the precise biological mechanisms that make them so effective. This isn't folklore or gardening mythology. This is science-backed soil building using materials that most people throw away or ignore completely. The conventional gardening world has convinced us that proper plant nutrition requires these complex synthetic fertilizers with precisely balanced NPK ratios, or at minimum, expensive organic amendments that we have to buy from specialty suppliers. We've honestly been conditioned to believe that good results demand significant financial investment, and that free or cheap inputs must somehow be, well, inferior. This mindset, it really keeps gardeners on a perpetual treadmill of purchasing amendments season after season, never quite achieving that self-sustaining fertility that actually defines truly living soil. The reality is, nature has been building incredibly fertile soil for millions of years using simple, readily available materials, and honestly, two of the most powerful examples are calcium carbonate from shell material and mineral-rich ocean biomass. What makes eggshells and seaweed so special isn't just their nutrient content, though that alone would make them valuable. The real magic lies in how these materials interact with soil biology to create conditions where nutrients become increasingly available over time. It's where beneficial microorganisms thrive, and where plants develop the kind of robust health that makes them naturally resistant to pests and diseases. These amendments don't just feed your plants for one season, they fundamentally improve your soil's capacity to support life, creating compounding benefits that increase year after year. Calcium is one of the most commonly deficient nutrients in garden soils, yet it's absolutely critical for plant health in ways that go far beyond what most gardeners realize. Every cell wall in every plant contains calcium as a structural component, making it essential for strong stems, healthy root development, and the ability to transport nutrients throughout the plant. When calcium is deficient, you see the effects dramatically in fruiting plants: blossom end rot in tomatoes and peppers, tip burn in lettuce, and bitter pit in apples are all manifestations of inadequate calcium availability. But calcium does more than just prevent deficiency diseases. It plays crucial roles in cell division, enzyme activation, and the plant's ability to respond to stress. Plants with adequate calcium show improved drought tolerance, better resistance to fungal diseases, and superior fruit quality with longer shelf life. Eggshells are approximately 95% calcium carbonate, the same compound found in agricultural lime but in a form that's remarkably more accessible to soil biology. When you crush eggshells and incorporate them into your soil, you're not just adding calcium, you're adding it in a matrix that soil microorganisms can colonize and gradually break down. The microbes that attach to eggshell surfaces secrete organic acids that slowly dissolve the calcium carbonate, releasing calcium ions into the soil solution where plant roots can absorb them. This biological breakdown process means eggshells provide both immediate and long-term calcium availability, with some eggshell fragments remaining active in the soil for years, continuously feeding beneficial microbes and releasing nutrients. The preparation process for eggshells matters more than most gardeners realize. Simply tossing whole or roughly crushed shells into your garden provides minimal benefit because the surface area available for microbial colonization is too limited. Our protocol involves thoroughly rinsing eggshells to remove any residual egg white which can attract pests and create unpleasant odors as it decomposes. We then dry the shells completely, either in a low oven or simply by leaving them in a sunny location for a few days. Once the eggshells are dry, we grind them into a fine powder using, a coffee grinder or a food processor. The finer the powder the better, because this really maximizes the surface area and speeds up the rate at which soil microbes can process the material. We apply this eggshell powder at a rate of about 1 cup per 10 square feet of garden bed, and then work it into the top few inches of soil where root activity is, honestly, at its highest. The results in our garden have been, truly transformative. Since we started using regular eggshell amendments 3 years ago, we've had 0 cases of blossom end rot in our tomatoes, even though we grow dozens of plants each season in different bed locations. Our pepper plants produce thicker-walled fruits with better color and flavor. Even our leafy greens show improved texture and reduced bitterness, likely because adequate calcium improves the plant's ability to regulate other nutrient uptake. The beauty of eggshells is that you can't really over-apply them. Excess calcium that plants don't immediately need remains in the soil, slowly breaking down and becoming available over subsequent seasons, while also helping to buffer soil pH and improve soil structure. If eggshells are the calcium powerhouse, then kelp and seaweed represent the ultimate broad-spectrum soil enhancement, delivering benefits that cascade through every aspect of plant health and soil ecology. Seaweed contains over 60 trace minerals and micronutrients that terrestrial plants need, but that are often depleted in garden soils. Elements like boron, zinc, manganese, copper, and molybdenum that play crucial roles in enzyme function, chlorophyll production, and disease resistance. But seaweed's mineral content, impressive as it is, represents only part of its value. The real breakthrough comes from its natural content of cytokinins, auxins, and gibberellins, plant growth hormones that stimulate cell division, root development, and overall vigor in ways that synthetic fertilizers simply cannot replicate. What makes seaweed particularly powerful for building living soil is its effect on the microbial community. Seaweed contains complex polysaccharides like alginates and fucoidins that serve as premium food sources for beneficial soil bacteria and fungi. When you add seaweed to your soil, you're essentially throwing a feast for the beneficial microbes, stimulating rapid population growth of the organisms that break down organic matter, fix atmospheric nitrogen, solubilize phosphorus, and produce plant growth-promoting compounds. Studies have shown that soil treated with kelp amendments can show a 200% increase in beneficial bacterial populations within just 2 weeks, and these elevated populations persist long after the initial kelp application. So, we use seaweed in 2 forms, each with its own distinct advantages. Liquid kelp extract, for instance, provides immediate benefits. We just dilute it according to the package directions and then apply it as both a soil drench and a foliar spray every 2 to 3 weeks during the active growing season. The hormones and readily available minerals in liquid kelp, honestly, produce visible effects within days. You'll notice plants showing a deeper green color, increased flowering, and improved stress tolerance. For longer-term soil building, we also incorporate dried kelp meal into our beds at planting time, working it right into the root zone where it'll slowly break down over the growing season. The dried kelp provides a sustained nutrient release while continuously feeding soil microorganisms, which creates compounding benefits that actually extend far beyond the initial application. The microbial enhancement from seaweed amendments, translates directly into superior nutrient uptake efficiency. Plants growing in kelp-enriched soil don't just receive more nutrients from the kelp itself, they become dramatically better at accessing nutrients already present in the soil. The enhanced microbial populations break down organic matter faster, solubilize mineral nutrients more effectively, and form more extensive mycorrhizal networks that expand the functional size of each plant's root system. We've observed that plants in kelp-amended beds require significantly less supplemental feeding than those in conventional beds, even when both start with similar baseline fertility. The kelp isn't just feeding the plants, it's fundamentally upgrading the soil's biological infrastructure in ways that improve nutrient cycling efficiency. The magic really happens when you understand how eggshells and seaweed work together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. Calcium from eggshells improves soil structure by helping clay particles aggregate into stable crumbs, which increases pore space and improves both drainage and water retention simultaneously. This improved structure creates ideal habitat for the beneficial microbes that seaweed feeds, allowing larger and more diverse microbial populations to establish. Meanwhile, the organic acids produced by microbes feeding on seaweed help solubilize calcium from eggshells more rapidly, making that crucial nutrient available to plants faster than it would become available on its own. Over time, this synergistic relationship creates a self-reinforcing cycle of improvement. Better soil structure means better root penetration and more extensive root systems. More extensive roots mean more root exudates feeding soil microbes. More active microbial communities mean faster nutrient cycling and better disease suppression. The result is soil that gets measurably better every season, rather than gradually degrading despite your best efforts. Our beds that have received regular eggshell and seaweed amendments for 3 consecutive years now show organic matter content nearly double that of beds receiving conventional organic fertilizers, and the microbial diversity in these beds is extraordinary, with active populations of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and beneficial nematodes all working together in a complex food web. The sustainability benefits extend beyond just soil health. Every eggshell we use in the garden is one less item going to the landfill, and the same goes for seaweed collected from beaches after storms or purchased as a byproduct of commercial kelp harvesting. The financial savings are substantial too. A year's supply of eggshells costs nothing beyond the eggs you're already buying for your kitchen. And a 20-pound bag of kelp meal that lasts an entire growing season costs less than a single application of premium synthetic fertilizer for the same garden area. So, the combination of crushed eggshells and seaweed actually represents a complete soil fertility system. It addresses both the macronutrient needs and those complex micronutrient requirements that really define optimal plant health. You're not just adding fertilizer here, you're building a biological infrastructure that will continue generating fertility long after the initial application. Alright folks, here's a little tip for you. Start saving your eggshells today, crush them finely and work them into your beds. And, oh, don't forget to source some quality kelp meal or liquid kelp extract and begin applying it regularly. Trust me, within a single growing season you'll see measurable improvements in plant vigor, fruit quality, and overall garden productivity. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. The most common ones are underprocessing eggshells and inconsistent seaweed application. Just remember, finely ground eggshells work exponentially better than roughly crushed ones, and regular, modest seaweed applications outperform those in frequent heavy doses. Keep that in mind. Here's a tip for you. If you live near the coast, you can collect fresh seaweed from beaches. Just make sure to rinse it thoroughly to remove excess salt before application. And for those inland gardeners, don't worry. Dried kelp meal and liquid kelp extract are readily available online and at many garden centers. So, if you're ready to transform your garden using simple, sustainable amendments that actually work, go ahead and subscribe to the Living Soil Lab. We're constantly testing unconventional approaches and sharing transparent results that help you build genuinely living soil. Share this guide with fellow gardeners ready to move beyond expensive inputs and embrace materials that nature has proven effective over millions of years. Together, we're proving that the best fertility doesn't come from a factory. It comes from working intelligently with biological processes that build soil health season after season.